Hello, Heart family. Welcome, everyone. I'm really happy to have Jess with us tonight. She's a beautiful soul sister of mine that I met through a wonderful 4-month course. I also met Inez there and Colena, who you saw the other day. So Jess is a beautiful, sensual creatrix. And I'm really happy and excited to have her here with us because I want to have her talk about her program that she has recently just come out of. It is a 10-week program called Come Home to Yourself. And also, just FYI, if you do hear a bit of dogs barking and exes noise and stuff, just ignore that.
Sorry.
But yes, welcome. And hi, Jess.
Hello. Thank you so much, my beautiful sister. Thank you. My heart feels full when I'm in these spaces with other sisters like yourself. So I'm really grateful. So thank you, because I just feel like when women are doing this and really helping other women shine, we all win at the same time. When we're uplifting another woman, we are doing it for every other woman as well. So I'm really thankful. Yeah. So thank you. Yes.
Do you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes.
Who you are, where you're from?
I would love to. Thank you so much for the warm welcome. So for those who don't know me, my name is Jessica Angilier. I'm from Australia. I live in Mexico. At the moment, I'm in Mexico City. And yes, as Eleni said, I've just finished a beautiful immersion container, Feminine Remembrance, Come Home to Yourself. And it's exactly that, what it states. It's about this remembrance of the feminine and really drawing in and coming back home. And this really came from my own journey of my own search of who I am, and coming from a real disconnection from my own feminine. And I think I know I've been a student of the feminine, I can say, for my whole life, just because I've just been so disconnected from my feminine. And for me, my reaction to this real over masculinized paradigm that we live in has not so much taken on more of a masculine approach. For me, it was the opposite. I became really suppressed, my voice suppressed, me being seen. I was afraid. I went into relationships not really knowing my own power, my own magnetic power in my feminine. I would allow people to talk over me and patronize me and not respect me for the woman that I am. And so I saw the feminine as something weak and submissive because that's how I was treated.
Good girl.
Yeah, I took on the good girl image, but at the same time, I went from good girl to rebellious girl because I didn't want to be seen as the good girl. And so I went from one extreme to the other. And in this, I really went into this spiral of disconnecting from my true essence, my erotic innocence, this feeling of really, this is me and I own this. This is me and my sensual nature, and it's full of love. And when people come and work with me, they often think that my work is all about reaching orgasms, because I do focus a lot on sexuality, as that again has been my journey into coming home to myself. This journey of reclaiming my sexual power. But what they realize when coming into my work, into my spaces, is that this is also about really honoring the feminine and really embracing this authentic, wholesome love, you know, and igniting this love and integrating the love with this sensual creative life force within us, which then brings us these beautiful sexual experiences. But that's not what it's all about. It's about really honoring this feminine, magnetic, sensual essence. And that only occurs when we are slowing down and really coming home to our breath and melting into our movements. So my movements are really inspired from my own Samba background. I was a Samba dancer and for years and years. And that actually was part of my journey as well. I connected with this erotic, sensual dance. And I had no influence of Samba. I'm not Brazilian. My background is Italian, but it was more about the feeling, this feeling of, like, I found myself when I started to dance this dance of beauty and sexuality and sensuality. And every time I went on stage and performed, I found more pieces of myself. And I was like, oh, there she is. I love her. She's not afraid to be seen. She is, she's big and she's, you know, and I'm not here as well to put myself on a pedestal. It was more about me being seen for my own authentic nature. And every woman,
that freedom of being allowed to express your full self.
Yes.
And not wanting to hide that away from the world.
Yes, that's right. And so I was on this constant search always. I traveled the world solo. I was a teacher. I have a master's degree in education. Even though I haven't taught. I left my career as a teacher 7 years ago now. But that really also taught me how to hold space for people. And children taught me this spirit that we all lose when we move into, you know, our everyday life. They teach us the real meaning of embodiment, because children are the embodiment of the divine. We all come into this world, as you know, as spirit, as the divine, and they're so connected to their free erotic nature. They move their body in ways that women are afraid to do, because we're in here, we're in the mind, and we are afraid to be rejected or abandoned by society or by others. And so children always ignited that within me. They helped me remember that I have this creative force in me too. And it's very quickly lost, very quickly. And I witnessed that. So that part of my life really helped me to know how to navigate through different behaviors and personalities, and knowing how to hold space for more than 30 people. So I've really developed this skill. And then coming to Mexico, where I left my whole life, I moved for love. And I started a relationship that really made no sense to the outside world. But for me, it made sense in my heart and in my soul, because for the first time, I met someone who really connected deeply with me, with my soul, and I could see them for their soul. But that's only because I had been doing so much work on my heart before with a shaman and you know, I was able to really, I saw him as this projection of my own soul. And so regardless, it made no sense that I moved my whole life to be with this person that I didn't know, I knew for 2 months.
But it's because you made a heart-based decision instead of a mind-based decision, you know, because you didn't come from, oh, but is it right or is it okay? It was absolutely purely from your heart. So yeah, that's beautiful.
Yes, exactly.
It won't make sense logically because it doesn't come from there.
That's right. And that was the first time I really trusted myself to, I think that's another missing piece for us women is first, it's this connection to the feminine and really embracing our own feminine wisdom and our true, really tapping into our true knowings. But then the next step is trusting and taking action from that space, not getting lost in the noise, not getting lost with the distractions and the shoulds and everything that we need to be doing because it makes sense and the logic. And with this trust in yourself and knowing that you are held always by your own love and by the divine, you know that there is no failure. I didn't know if this relationship was going to work, but what I did know is that there was going to be something coming out of it, and I didn't know what. And I mean, we're together still after 6 years. So, you know, I took the chance, and from that, my whole life has just blossomed because I've allowed myself to be surrendered into whatever comes my way. And that's the other thing. That's the feminine. It's this feeling of just surrendering and being receptive to what, you know, is drawn to us and not holding our hearts closed.
Exactly.
And that's why I'm here today. So then coming here to Mexico, I started leading spaces and working in Tulum in retreats. And, you know, I started teaching Samba. But then I realized, hang on, women are missing something. And it's this real need for being able to be in spaces where women feel safe to just really drop into their body, let go of, you know, this image of needing to do everything right and perfect and pretty and just being okay in your full body rawness and allowing yourself to go into these messy states and dark places. And that's where we find ourselves, in these messy, dark spaces. And so that's where I realized, okay, it started to click for me that I'm here now offering more than just movement. I'm here to offer space.
A container.
Yes, a real safe, sacred container which allows women to drop into and explore the fullness, the full spectrum of their own sexual nature, which is magnetic and sensual and soft and beautiful. And that's not what we're taught to do. We're taught to, right? We're taught to just do things one way. It's very linear, as we know, very linear. You do this and this, or we get stuck in the messiness of life as well. And then we go down this spiral of confusion and not knowing what we want. But at the same time, the thing that's really, the common themes amongst women when they've come to work with me is not knowing what they desire, one, going into relationships and really being afraid to open themselves up fully and expressing themselves fully, and not knowing how to be in that state of surrender, their full surrendered state with their body. And we can do that through sensuality, which is why I've got this beautiful container, Come Home to Yourself, of Feminine Remembrance. So thank you for allowing me to share that. Yes, and we just finished that a week ago.
I wanted to ask you, how did this come about? Like, how did you come to the idea, like, oh, I'm going to do a 10-week program for this? Like, how did that process come together?
How did it come together? Well, I had already been working with women prior to that. And I had been doing 7 weeks one-on-one. And it was very similar with a lot of my work had just been coming from my own experiences and from what I've seen, what other women have needed. And it's generally women just wanting to feel so safe and so like a space where they give themselves permission to really just be with all that they are, their whole raw essence. And then for some reason, I just wasn't for some, well, it was very intuitive. I just had this, okay, it has to be 10 weeks. I don't know why 10 weeks. 12 doesn't feel right. I've just become really good at tuning into my inner wisdom.
I love that. I love that.
I've really become
intuitive hits.
Sorry?
You get these intuitive hits. The more connected you are to your feminine, these hits come through. Like they just keep coming and coming and coming.
Yep. It really just came. And so the whole immersion was a mix of channeled messages, a lot of my movements are either inspired from Samba, combined with a lot of just channeling. They just come to me, and that's the embodiment practices I do in my Facebook group. They just come to me. They literally just, okay, I always have an intention. Sorry?
It rises from within.
It does. It rises from, because I've worked so much on my womb space, so much on connecting with my yoni. I have this real expansiveness that I tune into, and the voice, the wisdom, that does reside in my womb was very quiet before. And as you said, the more you work with the feminine, the louder it becomes. And so you have then to make a choice to take action or ignore it. And the more you ignore it, the more we're confronted with challenges and blocks, because you know that it doesn't, and then it doesn't feel right. Usually the feeling that the voice that resides within the womb is an instant knowing.
Yeah.
It's just a feeling. It feels right. It feels aligned. There's no real emotion to it, actually. Do you feel the same? There's no real like, I've got to do it. It's just, this is it.
It just drops.
Just drops.
And you're kind of like, where did that come from? Like, okay, we'll do that. It's just there.
It's just there. And that's exactly how I felt when I started Samba. Where did that come from? Who just randomly does Samba? And I didn't have any dance background. And how I felt about when I moved to Mexico to start this relationship, there was no real, like, I've got to do it. It has to be like this. That comes after. I feel like the passion and the excitement is what brings forth. It drives the whole intention, your passion and your fire and your that real desire. But the knowing is deeper than that, and it comes from somewhere really mysterious and unknown, and somewhere far away. I don't even know. And it's very cosmic. It feels orgasmic, actually. You know, you go into these places of darkness and cosmic expansion, and you don't know where that is, but it feels right. It feels good, and it makes sense in a way. To the outside world, it doesn't. So, and that's where I actually start in my immersion, in my container. We start with the womb, and we start with release work first with our womb, just to make our way back home into our feminine wisdom, to presence ourselves into that knowing, to build that warmth there before we continue on. And then we dive into shame with sexuality. And why did I start with, you know, I mean, I'm asking my own questions here. I'm asking and answering my own questions. I'm going down my own spiral of curiosity.
I'm letting you do your thing. You need to do you. This is amazing. I love the fact that, okay, so just FYI, we're going into what happens in the 10-week course. Here we go.
Yeah.
Right. So we're in the womb and we're busy releasing.
Yes, let me take you down into this vision of the 10-week program. So you're in the dark, dark cave. Yes. And we do some release work. And then we do go into some work on menstruation, because I feel like, you know, this is the place that the feminine needs to begin. And as you know, Eleni, that is the most powerful aspect of of a woman's body. This is where we are most disconnected from, and where we can really tune into this real true nature, our magnetic nature as a woman, which is powerful and infinite. We realize our infinite nature when we do tap into this aspect of ourselves.
Exactly.
And so we start with the womb, and we go into menstruation and the different phases of our life as a woman. And I don't like that this is just me, but you know, there are some women who come to my work who aren't bleeding anymore. So I like to also ensure that I'm thinking about those women. So I try and incorporate the idea of the phases that we move into, you know, each part of our lifetime, you know, whether it's menarche or menopause, motherhood, and all of these phases and archetypes that do reside within us, no matter our age. So I do, that's one of our modules. And I also have one where we set the foundation about the feminine and how we have been hurt. We are all living through, no matter what, no matter our experiences, we've all been hurt by the patriarchy.
Oh, yeah.
And we are feeling the pain collectively, and it's in our history as well. And so, you know, when we go, I won't go into that, but when we go all the way back into from hundreds and thousands of years ago, women have felt the pain, and we are still carrying that within our wombs. It's held 100%. Within our lineage. Yeah. And so, you know, we do some work around that. But I also don't like to see us as victims. We don't do this work from the place of being a victim and, you know, we're doing this to take back, reclaim our power.
Exactly.
Sovereignty, taking our throne, sitting on our throne and taking responsibility for our place in this world now. Because when
Correct.
we are victims, we have this anger and we start to put men down, and men are beautiful and we require the masculine and the masculine in men to really hold this beautiful space of this presence of a woman, of the feminine. And so, yes, we move into sexuality and the shame around that we've all felt, whether it's the oppression of your sexuality or overuse of your sexuality. We have felt the shame. And that's where women are moving through life, from this space of needing to prove themselves through
or trying to live up to the expectation of what should be sensual or what should be considered sexual, losing your own sensual nature in the process because you're following some, ideology that just isn't you, and thus you feel shame because you can't live up to this expectation, but it's not yours to live up to because it's not yours, period. So
we're shifting that and reclaiming our power back into what sacred sexuality means. And I've had women come to me who have worked with other leaders in neo-tantric spaces, and they've come to me because they're still searching. They're still knowing that there's something missing. And I feel like it's that sacredness with sexuality and how we can use our sexuality in places that really serve our highest potential.
exactly.
Yeah. And so, we do some movement to release some of that shame as well. We go into and then we start to work with the heart. And I know you've done this as well, and one of my favorite practices is the breast massage. And this has shifted my whole life. I've been doing this for 8 years now, and wow, every time I do it, you just feel this openness in your heart space, like a flower, and you realize that we are this flower that just opens and closes so gently and so naturally. And that's what I bring into the space. So I am always connecting these different spaces of the heart. And then we go back down to the yoni. We get really intimate with our yoni. And so working with these spaces, these holy spaces, these holy intimate places of our body, we really come home to who we are. We discover more of our cosmic, infinite, abundant nature. And we remember that with our, with pleasure, there's a lot of pleasure and sensuality, which really comes into my work. With pain, we can always invite in pleasure and sensuality and softness. And I think that's really important in this world that we live in, where we tend to forget the softness, or we tend to bypass softness. We see it as something of weakness. Really, it's our healing medicine. To give ourselves the nourishing touch that we so desire and deserve. And then once we've done all of that and we've connected to these holy, intimate places of ourselves, we unleash our wild selves to be seen. And that's another thing I feel like, I suffered from being seen and being heard my whole life. And just from another common theme that women tell me, both like, finally, I'm seen, I feel heard when I'm in your spaces. Like, just to hear that, you know, that is
Feels
just
good.
everything.
Good. Mm-hmm.
To feel heard and seen. And that's what I want to continue energizing, that for women to feel like they're seen, like, hey, but really seen for who they are, you know, to who they are in their soul, in their heart, and to be heard, you know, in all their messiness, and to know it's okay to be messy. It's okay to shift from one thing to another, to be okay with not making sense, to be okay to not know what you're talking about, but just trust that voice that really comes and opens when you open your yoni and your womb. And
actually start to listen to her.
And listen. Because she just carries so much medicine and so much ancient wisdom and knowings that can really teach us how to step into our power, whether it's in business or relationships, you know, or even when you are in a relationship. And this is the magnetic nature that I'm speaking about, this nature within ourselves, this feminine, when you really listen and open up your throat and you listen to her and you speak from that space, you speak from your heart, there is no wrong. There is no wrong. And you realize that you're not afraid to also know what you desire and what you're worthy of.
Exactly.
And that all comes with this whole, with the dance of the feminine, and then with the masculine as well. And I do bring that in as well, the masculine, because we need to work with the masculine too. We can't forget about him. And these,
but we also embody both energies. We have to come into balance. That is what divine union is, after all, is coming into that perfect balance. We can't just discard the one and be like, nope, I'm just going to operate from this. You'll never get anything. You'll just like, you'll flop, you know, you won't actually be able to stand on your own 2 feet. It's like having one leg, one arm, and, you know, half a body trying to keep balance. It just doesn't work.
Exactly. And so I was thinking of, how can I bring the masculine into this? So I've called it the dance with the masculine and feminine, and we literally do a dance where I focus on posture and stance and holding yourself like a pillar, a strong pillar of the masculine.
I feel that. You're giving me like all these puppies. That sounds good. I'm like, yeah, that's a thing.
Yes.
My body's resonating with that. It's like, okay.
Yes, and not from the space of like, yeah, you know, I'm going to take on more of this role of a man. Instead, we can dance with the feminine and invite in the masculine, and really have this strength that also feels soft at the same time, and fun and playful, you know. And I wanted to bring that in because sometimes life can be so serious. And so I brought in a bit of Vogue happening. We do a bit of Vogue, you know, what do you call it? Like poses.
Yeah. Camera loves to dance.
Yeah.
I love that, though. I think that's fun.
And I think that's also, you know, we can't just speak about the feminine and do all the feminine work. We need to bring in the masculine. I always bring in the metaphor of salsa dancing. If you've ever done some partner dancing, salsa dancing, you need a partner, right?
Correct.
And we need him to lead us. And in that is a strength, because he needs to know where to direct us. He needs to know what the next step is. He needs to have a strong posture to hold our playful feminine. And then he presents the stage to us as a woman and allows us to be soft and sensual, which is strong in itself as well. We can't think that soft and sensual is weak. It's a very strong attribute of the feminine. And so, and we need to be intuitive as well and let him lead us. And that is a difficult thing to do. Just like we were speaking about in the beginning, you know, knowing where that intuition, that voice, where it comes through, and then following it.
Exactly.
Taking action there. Otherwise, we're just, life happen, like
100%
comes, you know, we're not taking, we're not reclaiming our own power and not taking agency and responsibility for what happens in our own life. So it's that beautiful dance of the feminine and masculine. They work together like this. It's not like competing against each other. And then that's how women are always competing against one another.
Correct.
Because we've learned.
Aren't we tired of that by now? I mean, fuck, it's exhausting. Like, I'm so, there was this one particular talk that you actually spoke about in your Facebook group where you had this beautiful conversation about the sister wound. And it was so beautiful to me because it was so on point. So we're going to share Jess's Facebook page and Instagram and all sorts of stuff, so that you have access to all of that, because you have to absolutely go and connect with her. When are you going to run your 10-week program again?
Yes, so I'm thinking in March. We will start in March again. I'm so excited. Yes, in March. And I'm already thinking of some other things that is coming up very soon. Some more embodiment, just focusing on movement, you know, and something that's kind of brewing inside of me right now. But the 10 weeks is just so like close to my heart. When I see women come in and walk out, there's this radiance and glow and magic. We create magic when women are together. Like, look at this. This is magic. This space feels magical, and women really need to realize the magic that occurs when we start holding space and lifting each other together.
Exactly. And I can definitely 150% say that Jess knows how to hold space. That is a guarantee, because every single thing that I have done or participated in or listened to her lives or her conversations, she captures my attention. She makes me feel safe. There's no weird or icky or awkward feelings in my body. I feel completely comfortable to be in the uncomfortable. Because sometimes for me, moving and coming into like a lot of sensual, it's still a little bit difficult, but that's my wounded stories. But I'm comfortable to do it with Jess because I feel really supported, and I feel like if there is one space that I can actually be and come into and do all of this stuff and just connect with my own sensual nature, it's with her. Really, she holds a beautiful space. It's so much love. It is just love bombing. There is no judgment. There is no telling you what to do, how to do, what to think, who to think. It is just pure love and support. So I absolutely recommend doing whatever you can. Join her Facebook group. I mean, she's live there every Wednesday. She posts beautiful things. She comes on and has awesome conversations. So yeah, definitely check that out for sure.
Thank you so much. That really just
You
love bombed my heart. Thank you. And it takes a beautiful, strong woman to say that as well, and to know that that's, you know, to see another woman in that light, you know, that's you as well. So I can say the exact same thing about you, your ability to just stand and really present in your own body, in your own nature. And that's what we're here to do, to share each other's, like we come here with our own medicine, our own gifts. And if we learn to just work together, we can help each other to thrive in this world, rather than putting each other down.
Correct. And honestly, I mean, like, I feel like, you know, been there, done that. We got so many t-shirts. I mean, come on, girls, it's time. That should go. Let it go. Yes. We need to start loving each other. We need to start loving each other. We need to start showing up for each other. We need to start supporting each other. And there is absolutely no reason why you should ever want to be in competition with another sister, because I promise you, you're not going to gain anything from it. Instead, if you support her, if you show up for her, if you love her, if you witness her, if you accept her, you will discover such a deep love and understanding and community that it literally rips your heart open. It is time that we come from that place. This old school bullshit where we're competitive and where we judge each other and where we're mean to each other, or we say, oh, but this one looks funny because she's wearing this dress. Like, who gives a fuck? Who gives a shit? Sorry. I mean, my bad. Sorry.
Yes.
But I just, it's that we just love each other. And I love Jess, and I love every single woman that I've connected to. And this last year has been a wild ride of meeting the most incredible, beautiful women. And I am so grateful. So I thank the goddess for that. So yeah.
Oh, you just said,
please connect with Jess. She's amazing.
Thank you. Really, thank you. You said all of that just so beautifully, just landed in my heart, and so needed. Yes. And I love seeing women really like stepping into this like raw, wild animal nature that I feel like a lot of us women shame for in our movements, and that's what holds us and contracts our bodies. So when we just go, yeah, look
here we are,
me, you know, I'm a goddess.
And you let your wild woman happen. Like, I'm not shaming that anymore. I'm going for it. I'm gonna get weird with my sisters, and I'm gonna fucking have the best time of my life. No more judging, no more holding back.
No.
And you have this space where you offer this. And I mean, I haven't found a lot of places where the quality and the love and the work that you offer so freely. I mean, you have a 7-day free program. You had that beautiful 3-day program as well, which was completely free. You are on Facebook almost, I don't even know how many times, with free conversations, free talks. You give so much, and you have a beautiful community. So I absolutely, I recommend, and I will continue to recommend people to come to you and work with you and connect with essential nature, because you hold that pure essence, and it's beautiful to witness.
Thank you so much for saying that. Thank you. And I will share the 7-day program as well, so everyone can do it, so everyone can just feel into their pleasure and their sensuality and feel good. Thank you so much for saying that. Just
like, I mean, hello, look at that. That just dropped in. So you have to share it now.
Yes, I will.
Cosmic Mother just went, come Jess, 7-day program. People they need a break after the holidays. Come. They need to be tapped into their juiciness. We need fresh juice.
Hey, yeah. Yes, enough doing for everyone else. You know, we need to give back to ourselves and just it's like feel
Slow
like
down.
feel good, you know, like that feeling when you have a bath with this bath salts and incense and flowers.
Yep.
Yes, we can do it in other ways too. That feeling, that orgasmic feeling. Thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
saying those beautiful things. Aw.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Sending love.
Okay.